So, have you ever wondered, is there some kind of alien or other living creatures on other planets? Or have you ever came across some information on multiverse where it said someone who's identically the same as you does survive? I used to have a picture of an imaginary paradise with other living species in it. Do we as humans only have each other? Let us welcome Caleb to resolve our doubts.
Good afternoon to everyone here. So today I'm going to talk about whether humans are alone in the universe and why does the answer to this question matter. So I'm actually not an expert on the topic, so you can consider my words today's speculations. But anyhow, let's continue. So the presentation seeks to address two questions. The first question is whether we are alone in the universe. And this question concerns whether Homo sapiens are only intelligent species in the cosmos. And the second question about why this matter is the question concerning how the answer to whether we are alone affect the decisions we make in the future of our history. So we talk about some of the historical findings in the 20th century about this question first. The craze about aliens and UFOs and stuff actually began in World War II when the USA started to develop the space program in order to combat with countries like the Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia. So in the 1950s, the physicist Enrico Fermi, which participated in the nuclear project, sat at a lunch table with two other physicists in the USA. He proposed a joke which is now called the Fermi paradox, which is an open and unsolved question concerning why aliens are not detected despite the high probability of their existence. About 10 years later, the idea entered the public consciousness, and we have many films like Star Trek and Star Wars and stuff in 1960s and 70s. In 1984, the SETI Institute was founded by an entrepreneur in California. NASA put many millions of dollars to support the project and build some telescopes to help with the project, but there was no coherent results except for a wild signal whose origin was not found and is likely a natural signal. So we talked about the popular sci-fi conception of the universe. In the early works in the 20th century like Star Trek, there are many civilizations in our local galaxy. Scientists have wondered about why there are no such civilizations detected yet. Some people propose something like called a zoo hypothesis, which is saying that since humans are not developed yet, aliens purposely choose to hide their existence from us. There are about a dozen other hypotheses in this line of thought, but they seem like rationalizations and not really true to me. So I propose that famous is incorrect, and there may really be no aliens. I will give some reasons for my position. I think there are two reasons there are no aliens. One is that conscious life is actually very hard to form. The second is that the conscious life may not become intelligent. The early scientists, before about the 1990s, have found that basic bacterial life is very simple and can be found virtually everywhere. In the 20th century, there are many chemical super experiments conducted in the major labs in the USA. The thesis behind these experiments was that in the early Earth about 4 billion years ago, there were a mix of chemicals like hydrogen, methane, and so on, and those chemicals suddenly magically created life. And the scientists want to replicate them in the labs. But all those experiments failed. NASA also sent some probes to moons like Titan that have similar atmosphere to Earth, but there were also no signs of life detected on those moons. So I think that there may not be the emergent processes that create life as early assumed, and life may be very rare. Maybe in the whole Milky Way galaxy, there may be no life because the odds of it forming may be mathematically very great. I also think that the threat that humans emerge on to become a spacefaring species may be just an accidental, maybe just wholly accidental instead of being planned by God or something like that. Because a species need to be tool making and has a drive and ability to use their tools for space exploration. And even the species can make tools, the cost for them may be too high, so they do not make tools. For example, birds can make tools, but they will never evolve into a spacefaring species because in the natural world, species are only motivated to survive and do not have any other goals. Even some intelligent species like dolphins, and dolphins have been shown to learn and understand mathematics. They will be unable to create the tools because they live in water, and in water it's pretty hard to even create a fire, let alone build a rocket to go to space. So this further falsifies one hypothesis is that ocean planets in space may form spacefaring species because the life on those planets may mostly resemble dolphins, and they will never be able to go to space. So I think there are two implications of this conclusion for humans. And the first thing is that I think the risk in our future development is highly likely to be overcome since we already have progressed through more than 99% of our evolution. And I also think because of this, humans have an ethical responsibility to explore outer space. In the 1990s, Nick Bostrom, who founded the Ethic Charlie Institute, the Future of Humanity Institute in England, have proposed a great future theory of existential risk for humans. So in the picture, I have included two scenarios, which is that the future for the spacefaring species may be very early in the species' typical development. If that is the case, then we will see many species in space that may create civilizations. But this is not the case. So the scenario is much more likely that the future is quite behind us, and we have already crossed the future by becoming merely an intelligent species. In the evolution of humans, there have been many much greater disasters than what we may face in the future. For example, some geologists suggest that about 70,000 years ago, a volcanic eruption called the Toba eruption reduced the human population to less than 10,000. Even if we have a nuclear war, if we have bases in outer space, the scenario will probably not be worse than that. So we can be nearly 100% certain that humans can survive the future. And now we talk about ethical responsibilities for humans to colonize space. This is one of the reasons is that to solve the sustainability crisis, many of the political planners and scientists nowadays are realizing we don't have enough space on Earth to build solar panels or wind blades or stuff to get enough energy for the world to work, especially as China and India are developing. But we can have energy reserves in outer space, such as in comets, which have water and minerals that far exceed the supply on Earth. And we can also harvest solar energy from space, which can replace all the sources of energy from Earth. This may be the key piece in the sustainability crisis that we are facing. And that may actually solve the crisis without reducing our consumption. And also, if we subscribe to Jeremy Bentham, who was an Enlightenment philosopher, that greater happiness for a greater number of sentient entities is the most important good, then actually humans bear their sole responsibility for this cosmic burden if humans are the only species in the galaxy or in the universe. Actually, some ontological theories of the universe support this, and they have been endorsed by some famous scientists such as Carl Sagan. Some philosophers think that the reason the universe exists may be for intelligent species like humans to eventually advance and uncover the purpose of the universe. Thus, the purpose of the universe may be self-reflexive, and we are the agency in the self-reflexive process. So this is the end of our presentation, and I hope this presentation inspires all of you to think more about exploring space. And I also want to credit Nick Bostrom, who is the HKAGE philosopher I mentioned earlier, who wrote the paper with the blueprint for this presentation. You can copy down this paper title and read it online. And Mr. Bostrom has also about 20 other papers about AI and stuff that you may be interested in. So this is really the end of our presentation. Thank you.